Well, if you are a Caitlin Clark fan, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, this is something you already know. However, for the haters out there, the old WNBA fandom, many of you call them the slows. For those fans, they're in complete denial. We've tried to tell people Caitlin Clark moves the needle.
So, Sophie Cunningham just dropped a total bombshell on her podcast. She said she wants a bigger contract for her next team, so she can buy a house and get all cozy. And listen, that statement just absolutely rocked the Indiana Fever. This wasn't some casual talk. It was a super clear hint that one of their most vital, unsung heroes might actually walk away. The implications are huge, not just for the Fever's roster, but for the whole franchise's future. This especially impacts their superstar, who's totally changed the league. It's not even just about money, it's about the very foundation the Fever are trying to build around their generational talent. And if she really leaves, that's going to cause a massive storm of frustration at the top.
So Sophie Cunningham is one of the biggest names in the WNBA. And as well as that, she's also one of the best glue guys, role players in the entire league. Say we want about Sophie Cunningham, she shot 63% true shooting percentage while being a well above average defender. I'm not going to say a great defender, but like well above average defender. She's one of the better defenders on the Fever, and she's somebody that originally usurped DeWanna Bonner as a starter. And then obviously...
And get this, that unexpected announcement immediately sets off alarm bells for anyone who cares about the Indiana Fever's shot at winning, and honestly, for Caitlin Clark's future success too. Losing Sophie Cunningham, who's known for her high-volume three-point shooting and that super valuable glue guy role, leaves a huge hole. That's not easy to fill at all. It directly hurts the crucial offensive spacing and defensive stability that Clark absolutely needs to play her best. Her potentially leaving signals a major setback, and it could totally derail the careful synergy this team desperately needs around its generational talent. This isn't just some small roster tweak. It's a foundational tremor that could shake their entire competitive outlook.
We've tried to tell people Caitlin Clark moves the needle unlike anybody else in this league or everybody else in this league. It just sort of is what it is. Fans are coming to see one particular player, and along with that carries over the support to the entire team. Well, Forbes has released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth.
The thing is, the stakes for Caitlin Clark couldn't be higher right now. She arrived to this unprecedented fanfare, totally redefining WNBA engagement and bringing millions of new eyes to the sport. The expectation for her isn't just to compete, it's to contend for championships. So, losing a proven, low-ego, high-impact player like Cunningham, especially if it's because of perceived financial mismanagement, that would be a really tough pill to swallow. It points to a potential failure in how they're building the roster, which directly hurts Clark's ability to win. You can only imagine the frustration of a superstar whose incredible impact on the league isn't being matched by enough support on the court. That raises some serious questions about the team's long-term vision.
It does sound like the Fever are not going to keep her. From her podcast, a lot of the time she'd been mentioning the Fever, and in the most recent podcast, she did not mention the Fever, and she said this.
And I think the next team I play for, I want a bigger contract, so then I can buy a house and be homey and cozy.
Look, Sophie Cunningham's on-court value, it's undeniable. And honestly, it's irreplaceable. She boasts an impressive 63% true shooting percentage. Plus, she's got a solid defensive game, making her one of the Fever's better perimeter defenders. Her ability to shoot 43% from three-point range, and at a high volume, really stretches defenses. That creates so much critical space for drivers and cutters. Like Clark, she just plays within the system. She embodies a winner's mentality. And she famously has an on-court ego that's pretty much as close to zero as any pro athlete. These aren't just statistics either. These are the hallmarks of a crucial role player who genuinely elevates everyone around her, and that makes her potential departure even more impactful.
Well, Forbes has released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth, either on X or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I mean, all these posts have a monetary value to them based on engagement. Boy, their posts are worth a lot of money. They are worth a lot of money, and I can tell you right now, that's a little over 5 times higher than the next.
On top of all her crucial on-court contributions, Sophie Cunningham is also a major draw off the court. She consistently ranks among the most searched WNBA players, even landing lucrative sponsorships like with Arby's. Her popularity really adds a lot to the team's overall brand and fan engagement. While Caitlin Clark is definitely the primary driver of the Fever's staggering $55 million social media valuation, which is 5 times higher than the next WNBA team, by the way, players like Sophie Cunningham really amplify that reach. So losing such a marketable and beloved figure isn't just a hit to the roster, it's a blow to the Fever's broader appeal and their ability to really capitalize on all their newfound stardom.
That they don't want to keep. Like, this is the dumbest thing I think I've seen a team do. Like, genuinely. They traded 4 years of Sinai Rivers, and by the way, the Fever wouldn't have drafted Sinai Rivers. The Fever would not have drafted Sinai Rivers. The Fever are dumbasses. They would have drafted somebody else. But losing Sophie Cunningham for money reasons is not a smart thing to do. Like,
What's crazy is, the potential loss of Cunningham casts a pretty dark shadow on some past management decisions. The Fever famously sacrificed the 8th overall pick in the draft, a pick used on promising talent like Sinai Rivers, specifically to acquire Cunningham. This move was made to bring in a seasoned, effective player to bolster the roster immediately. So, to potentially let that asset just walk away after only 1 season, essentially making her a rental for such a high draft pick. Well, critics are calling that one of the dumbest things a team could possibly do. That initial investment made total sense for a winning strategy, but its potential unraveling signifies a catastrophic miscalculation.
They are worth a lot of money, and I can tell you right now, that's a little over 5 times higher than the next WNBA team. 5 times higher. Let's go down here. Just scroll down. The Indiana Fever's staggering $55 million social media evaluation speaks volumes. Now, before we get into this, let me just come over here and let me read this to you so you know exactly what we're looking at. After noticing the growing...
And with all this growing popularity, critics are not holding back at all. They're slamming the Fever's management for what looks like a monumental gaffe, trading away 4 years of a cost-controlled draft pick for a player who, just 1 season later, seems on the verge of leaving because of contract disputes. That's just a baffling decision. This isn't merely about player retention. It's about smart asset management and building a sustainable championship contender. The sentiment is clear. Unless Sophie Cunningham is demanding a max contract, which is highly unlikely given her role, the Fever have made an unforgivable error, jeopardizing their entire long-term strategy and undermining their immediate competitive window.
An unpopular opinion, Sophie's better than Lexie. But it's close enough to fair enough Lexie's younger. But I'm like, Lexie's not worth a max either. Like, if you're stuck in a situation where you've got 2 wings that are not max contract players looking for max contracts, you have to pick one or the other, you're kind of screwed. especially because you could have had a cost-controlled Sanaya Rivers for 4 years. At the same time, what are the odds that Steph White would have not developed Sanaya Rivers whatsoever and gave her bench splinters for the...
The core issue here really seems to be financial. Sophie Cunningham has clearly said she wants a bigger contract. And honestly, that's a totally reasonable request, given her performance and her value. But the Fever, they're facing salary cap constraints and some tough choices, especially as they look to build around Clark. This creates a challenging dilemma. How do you retain essential role players without compromising your future flexibility? If the Fever are unwilling or unable to meet Cunningham's market value, it signals a potentially alarming prioritization problem within the organization. This isn't just about a player leaving. It's a clear message about how the team truly values its integral components.
CEO of STN Digital, the valuations of these franchises are increasing dramatically. The ratings on television are better than ever, and I think there's no better time to look at what's happening on social media. Using a model called, quote, social value metric, the study calculated the estimated pay media equivalent value created by organic posts, factoring in impressions, video views, engagements to benchmark what the same exposure would cost through advertising. So in other words, if you paid out...
Now, adding to all this complexity is the internal comparison with Lexie Hull. While Lexie is younger and often seen as a developing wing, some analysts actually argue that Sophie Cunningham is currently the superior player. Yet, if both are seeking substantial contracts, the Fever are in a really precarious position. The unpopular opinion out there suggests Sophie offers more immediate impact, but the team might lean towards the younger Hull for future potential. Even if neither is deemed max contract worthy, this internal tug-of-war, if it's mismanaged, could lead to them losing the proven veteran without a clear, equally impactful replacement that just further complicates the team's competitive outlook.
She's not, like, KK Timpson, I've watched her the entire year, and you could say, oh, you know, KK could have been, like, she should have been progressing much better if Steph White had played her more. Man, I'm watching her over in Europe. She's not getting better. She's not getting better. Like, she's cooking the bad teams and then looks lost against the good teams. She's not really improving, and that is concerning. That is concerning. And now you're at a stage where, like, you have to realistically keep, like, if you don't keep Sophie,
And on top of that, further compounding the Fever's wing depth issues is the stagnant development of KK Timpson. Despite hopes for her progression, observers note that Timpson just isn't progressing at all. She's struggling against good teams in Europe and failing to show any significant improvement. This lack of growth means the Fever really can't rely on her to seamlessly step into a larger role if Cunningham departs. So, without Timpson evolving as expected and potentially losing Cunningham, the Fever's wing rotation becomes critically thin. That leaves Caitlin Clark with fewer reliable perimeter threats and defensive options, making an already tough situation even more dire.
He's revealed the Indiana Fever led the league with an estimated $55.04 million in social value, 38.73 million engagements, 1.17 billion impressions during the 2025 season. The top 5 teams by social value were the Indiana Fever, Dallas Wings at 8.61 million. That was second, folks. You went from 55 million down to 8.61 million.
But here's the thing. Sophie Cunningham's blend of shooting, defense, and selflessness truly makes her an irreplaceable player for the Fever. Her unique, zero-ego approach means she'll embrace literally any role, making her the ultimate team-first player, and that's a super rare commodity in professional sports. Unless the Fever has someone like a Kayla McBride just waiting in the wings, her specific contributions really cannot be replicated. This isn't about finding another score, it's about finding a player who enhances everyone else without needing the spotlight. Her departure would leave a void far greater than just a statistical drop, impacting team chemistry and overall cohesion.
That will help, and I don't give a damn about this enforcer type shit. What I do give a damn about is the fact that she shoots 43% from 3. She shoots 43% from 3. And shoots it at a high volume, is tough. Plays within a role, plays within a system, and is a winner. Is a winner and has I'm not gonna say zero ego because
Look, the tone of Cunningham's podcast comments goes way beyond mere speculation. It strongly suggests she's had a prior conversation with the organization. It really sounds like a player who has either been told directly that the team isn't retaining her or that they're unwilling to meet her contract demands for the upcoming season. This isn't some negotiating tactic either. It's the lament of someone who anticipates a new professional chapter. Such a premature public declaration signals a significant breakdown in contract talks or a clear organizational decision to move in a different direction. And that sends a pretty troubling message about how the Fever manage their vital assets.
Year-over-year increase. They increased engagements by 505%, impressions by 251%, and a social value by 344%. So good God, I don't know where they ranked prior, but they had that much growth and was still, basically $37 million behind the Indiana Fever in second place. Wow. And I wonder where that would be. Look, the Indiana Fever.
And now, the consequences of this potential misstep ripple through the Fever's entire draft strategy. They invested heavily in acquiring Cunningham, giving up a valuable draft pick, all under the assumption she would be a long-term piece. Now, if she just walks for nothing, they've effectively lost that pick without any sustained return. While WNBA teams sometimes devalue draft picks, the scale of this particular loss, sacrificing the 8th pick for what could be just a single season of a key player, is an egregious waste of resources. This decision really points to a concerning disregard for building a future-proof roster around their most valuable player.
They wanted DeWanna Bonner and they want to free up salary for DeWanna Bonner. But this is concerning because are they going to keep Natasha Howard? Are they going to get rid of Sophie Cunningham to keep a max contract for Natasha? The offense stops here, Howard. For me, that's just really, really concerning. And I'm worried. I'm really, really worried. Because by the sounds of things, this does absolutely sound like a take from a person who has been either knows or has been told they're gone.
What's more, a particularly troubling rumor suggests the Fever might be prioritizing a max contract for Natasha Howard over retaining Sophie Cunningham. This potential strategic choice is being met with widespread disbelief among basketball analysts. Howard, while a solid player, typically grinds the offense to a halt, whereas Cunningham actively facilitates ball movement and spacing, prioritizing a player who disrupts offensive flow over one who seamlessly fits into a modern, fast-paced system designed around Caitlin Clark. That goes against everything we've learned about winning basketball in the last 2 decades. It signifies a profound misunderstanding of team construction.
And it was surprising. I have to admit, I thought the Chicago Sky would be second because of Angel. I did. And she was 5th. That's interesting. So Caitlin, Paige Beckers, Asia, but we're talking they're way behind. Way behind in monetary value. God, the Chicago Sky was Jesus, way back there.
This potential choice to prioritize Natasha Howard over Sophie Cunningham is being called basketball blasphemy by many. Modern basketball, especially with a talent like Caitlin Clark, demands shooting, spacing, and versatile, low-ego role players. Cunningham absolutely embodies this ethos, while Howard's playstyle is seen as less complementary, sacrificing one of the league's most valuable plug-and-play pieces, if she can be signed at a reasonable rate, not a max contract, for a player who fundamentally alters the offense in a less optimal way, is a decision that could haunt the Fever for years. It would definitely hinder Clark's ability to truly unleash her game, and that's just a huge problem.
Against everything we know about the sport of basketball, everything we have learned for 20 years about the sport of basketball will tell you that Sophie Cunningham is one of the most valuable players in the league if you can get her at the right money. And whatever half a max contract, like whatever, not even half a max contract, whatever like a Bridget Carlton's making, you got to match that. You got to match a Bridget Carlton. Like in terms of value, there are maybe 45 more valuable players in the WNBA than Sophie Cunningham.
So, there's a growing fear that the Fever's past successes were actually more due to sheer luck than any brilliant strategic planning. I mean, drafting Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, and the incredible fortune that Boston adjusted her game for Clark, plus Kelsey Mitchell's development as an off-ball cutter, those were all really fortunate circumstances. Even the hardship players they signed didn't truly fit a run-and-gun offense. Now, with Sophie Cunningham's potential exit, concerns are really mounting that this luck is finally running out. And without a coherent, intelligent strategy, the team's trajectory could quickly plummet, much to Clark's likely dismay. The summer outlook for the Indiana Fever is now just riddled with anxiety. Analysts fear the team will recruit badly and make some questionable decisions with their remaining draft picks and free agency. The big concern is that they aren't actively building a proper cohesive roster that truly maximizes Caitlin Clark's generational talent. Instead, they might squander opportunities and alienate key players, potentially leaving Clark in a situation where her extraordinary efforts aren't translating into team success because of organizational missteps. This isn't just about winning games anymore. It's about validating the immense investment in their superstar. That shocking exit hint from Sophie Cunningham isn't just a player possibly leaving, it's a loud warning signal reverberating through the entire Indiana Fever organization. If they allow one of the league's most efficient, low-ego, and impactful role players to just walk away, it's a catastrophic failure in management that directly undermines the competitive window that Caitlin Clark has opened. This move, or lack thereof, could lead to immense frustration for Clark, who absolutely deserves a properly constructed roster to chase championships. The true value of a player like Sophie Cunningham is immeasurable, and losing her for preventable reasons is an error that could forever alter the Fever's destiny.